I don't think so, baby.
I'm a pen, Greg. Can you smoke me?
Ugh, what'd the trailer moan when I stuck this Honda inside it?
So ladies, please form an orderly queue when you're stepping into line for the shade tree surgeon experience. The suspension's softer at a 5 a.m. after party, and the seat's harder than a teenager with his very first copy. What's up, Radio Shade Tree Surgeon here on the Oregon-Washington border, overlooking a river that I actually don't know the name of the river, but there's a whole lot of logs on it. And we're standing here with one of the most unlikely adventure bikes ever. Behind me is a 37-year-old adventure bike, 250 cc's, 20 screaming horsepower. An unlikely motorcycle indeed is the Honda NX250, ahead of its time. Nobody understood it when it came out, and it was only in the American market for a couple of years, which is a crying shame because nowadays, this is exactly what we need. Or it's exactly what everybody says they want, although they can't even have this because I just bought this motorcycle for $1,000. But a little bit more on that later. We're going to be starting the video on the Oregon-Washington border in front of all this wood on the most unlikely adventure bike you could imagine. But before we get to that, we got to hop over to the Power Pig and me doing as little work as possible. But stay tuned because we got big things coming with the Honda NX. On a day such as this, with a bike such as this, you're gonna tell Shade Tree Surgeon he should be working. You're gonna tell me that I should labor. I should spend my precious time on earth laboring when such wonders await me on the back of a motorcycle? Yeah, I don't think so, baby. Mad Max KZ1000 tearing through the PNW. The Power Pig rides again. Works a four-letter word with a view like that. And we just kind of slid past the crack of noon, so it's way too early to be cussing at me, all right? You know, I might be the type of person who worked twice as hard for half as much just to be able to say that I don't have a real job. Actually, I wouldn't say that I might be that person. I'm definitely that person. I've never had a real job. I just have half a dozen jobs that aren't really real. Where you work twice as long for half as much, but all of a sudden when you do something like that and there's nobody breathing down your neck and you decide it's time to screw off on a fast motorcycle on the back roads of the PNW, well, actually, you know, Jason probably isn't going to be happy, and Shay Lisi's definitely going to be picking up my slack, so she might not be happy with me either. I guess some people will actually be mad at me, but you know what? I put all of my character build points into speechcraft, all right? I think I can talk my way out of this one. After all, how could they not understand? I mean, they're in the same place as me. I get that they know the work has to be done and they're staying there and toiling away, but I think that they should understand that a whimsical spirit such as me, light as a piece of fluff from a dandelion, flying through the air, just experiencing this world and everything it has to offer. Like, I can't be asked to toil on a day like this. I think that they're more suited for toiling. Yeah, and people should do what they're good at. And, I'm just not a toiler. I'm not good at toiling. I tried toiling. I'm just not very good at it. I'm way better at being broke and riding a motorcycle than I'll ever be at toiling. They say do what you're good at and you never work a day in your life. You'll also never ride a motorcycle that's newer than 30 years old, but that's all right, though. I'll take the crappy 30-year-old motorcycle that only runs half the time and leaves me stranded in the middle of nowhere. I'll take that any day of the week over way too much toiling, a motorcycle payment, no time off, and a warranty, okay? I've made my decision. That's where I stand. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. It's like I always tell the ladies, I might be broke, and my credit score might not be even good enough to afterpay a Little Caesars pizza on Uber Eats, but at least I smell bad and I ride a really unreliable motorcycle. So ladies, please form an orderly queue when you're stepping into line for the Shade Tree Surgeon experience. All right. I better get some kind of work done, I guess. I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty late, team. I took my patented Shade Tree Surgeon half day before I ever came in, so I'm gonna look on the bright side and say I hope they got all the work done before I even got here. 2:07. That's not too bad, right? Well, like the phone says, don't panic. Now, if only Shay Lisi and Sugar Tree Jay will take that advice when it comes to wanting me to be on time, alright? A wizard is never late. He arrives precisely when he means to. This worked out perfectly, like it always does for me. God loves an idiot. Showing up this late, Shay Lisi and Jason had to work so hard that they only just got back from their lunch break, which is perfect for me because now as soon as I get here, I got lunch waiting for me. It's nice to be loved.
Technically, I actually worked through my lunch break, and so did Jason, because his lunch break was going to pick up the food.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's what you call team players. And you guys wouldn't get a chance to shine unless I gave it to you. So I think I deserve a little bit of credit for that. I'm not gonna ask for the credit. I just think I deserve it. I'm a pen, Greg. Can you smoke me? It's time for a Brapstar upgrade. We're done documenting the life cycle of a Sessions dab cart, and it's time to get back to motorcycles. We're definitely gonna have to get creative to fit all three of these in here. Break out the lube. These bikes all might be skinny little Hondas, but I don't know if this was built for 3 motorcycles. I'll tell you something about old Shade Tree though, I got a lot of experience fitting things that I think are really big into spaces that have plenty enough room for them. Bend over and smile, baby. Ugh, why'd the trailer moan when I stuck this Honda inside it? Must be a little bigger than I thought. I think that most girls are up for a little DP. We want to fit all 3 in, baby. I might have to say that 2's company and 3's a crowd, but I think she's got it in her. Ready or not, here I come. What the hell? Handled that easier than I thought. Something tells me she's just acting shy. Methinks the lady's done this before. That ain't going nowhere.
From the moment I understood the weakness of my flesh, it disgusted me. I craved the strength and certainty of steel. I aspired to the purity of the blessed machine.
Opening up crates like this is fun. Experience in movies at least, has told me there will be some sort of great treasure or ancient Egyptian curse inside any box that you have to use a crowbar and a hammer to open up. Oh, no monsters or curses. But we do have a new Old Republic of Harbor Freight list. You can tell we just moved in because Shaylee's having to do the gremlin squat to do her drugs over there.
It's the Asian squat. Don't be racist. You can't put the cart before the horse.
But, well, you gotta have both though.
You gotta have a horse.
Speaking of carts and horses and motorcycles and Brapstar and sessions, you were looking at Brapstar North?
It's Brapstar West.
This is Jason's new garage. This is not Brapstar Garage, but Jason hasn't gotten here yet, so I'm just gonna go ahead and call it Brapstar Garage.
We gotta put up a Brapstar flag so we can own it.
Ownership, yeah. Dude, you put an American flag on the moon, it belongs to USA. We have to make a Brapstar flag first.
Maybe I'm putting the cart before the horse.
See, I told you, it serves you well. Putting the cart before the horse has served me well many times, okay? Everyone says, slow down, don't do that so fast, take a second to think about it. You know what? Thinking's never gotten me anywhere.
I also feel like all the greatest thinkers kind of killed themselves, right? So it's like maybe it's best to not be a thinker.
Too much thinking. All these people are thinking too much. No way, dude. All we want is hit the Pendulum, look at boobs, touch butts, ride motorcycles. Action, baby. That's what we need. Action. And speaking of action, let's get all three of these shovel heads in action. I think that'll be a great inauguration for the new Brapstar West, aka Sessions Garage. Getting all three shovel heads going is definitely, we'll call it ambitious, but I'm nothing if not ambitious. I just wish I was ambitious for something that actually was gonna help my future, you know, like saving money or investing in stonks or whatever you do. I'm not, so I'll take what I can get. You wanna see how trad wife Shaylee's is? She brought all the stuff to make me a peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Someone's gotta fucking do it.
You guys should be so lucky. Anyway, what we have to do is... What we gotta do is get the BBC, the Big Black Cruiser, aka the Bad Dragon.
It's not an okay name.
BBC?
Okay, yeah.
No, it's not an okay name. It's an awesome name.
You can't name Jason.
Too late. It's the Bad Dragon. So we need to...
Bad Dragon. He doesn't know what that is. That's not nice.
Once again, fix the charging system on that, so it's got to come all the way apart. Technically, the wet spot's running fine. Starts a little hard, but it's running fine for a 40-plus-year-old shovelhead FXR. We got to put mid-controls on it so Shaylee can ride it, and Jason's on his way here right now on his SNS-powered shovelhead, which I don't think we came up with a name for. I can't remember.
The red one?
Yeah, I thought I did, and now, but it's escaped me. It's flown out of my mind, like most things. Yeah, we'll just come up with a new name. That's why every bike has 3 names, because I forget them. That one needs a new starter clutch. Since that one's gonna be the easiest, we're gonna go ahead and pull the BBC out, throw his SNS FXR up on here, get that one sorted out, back to the BBC, and if we have time, we'll also get the wet spot set up with mid-controls. Nothing but shovels today, baby, but when you've got 3 shovel heads in the garage, you could definitely spend all day and all day tomorrow and all day the next day working on them. Can you let the strap off on the other side for me? Please, Sherry, just let the strap off, please. We don't want you to put the BBC strap on. I want the BBC strap off, please.
Hey.
All right, since we're starting completely new here in Portland in Brapstar West, aka the Sessions Garage. Jason's here now, so now it's back to the Sessions Garage, not the Brapstar Garage. I figured I would try out the Hercules. I'm definitely a proponent of the People's Republic of Harbor Freight. Old Hobo Freight has the best deals around. And a lot of times I'm so obsessed with finding a good deal that I end up having to buy stuff twice. I've got the Bauer stuff at home, but I figured I'd pay the extra $10 and test out the Hercules stuff up here and see if it's worth the very small premium over the red stuff. So I will say, out of everything they sell at Harbor Freight, I think that the Pittsburgh composite ratchet, I know Pittsburgh composite ratchets that have been in professional mechanics toolboxes that are over 15 years old and see daily use. I think they're like $9 This is the best deal at the People's Republic of Harbor Freight, and one of these should be in everybody's toolbox. And the mechanics that have these in their toolboxes are mechanics with snap-on tools, snap-on toolboxes, and probably 6 figures worth of tools at the shop. But their hand still always goes to this baby when it's time to work on something. I forgot we converted this to a semi-wet clutch, so you gotta let a little bit of oil drain out of there. Well, we're getting PB&Js, although I don't know if I've earned it or not because...
Oh, I'll put it on the floor then.
Because I'm still on the first bike, unsurprisingly. I really like Shaylisi's choice of instructions and plate combo.
Recycling is a scam. It's reduce, reuse, repurpose.
This is something I'll never not share because it was so cool to me. You get these springs on. There's a special tool for it, surely, but the poor boy method is to just zip tie it like that, stick it on there, stick your bucket and pin in, and then cut the zip ties off.
Joe moved right there, huh?
Oh yeah, dude. This is Joe all day long. I'm so thankful for some of the shit he's taught me. He'll answer, dude. He's like, what's up? It's not like, what is it this time? You know what I mean?
Let me help you.
Some people are, and I get it. Some people will still help you, but they're like, give you that shit. They're just like, what is it? You gotta do the dance. You know what I mean? You gotta do that little dance for him. And he doesn't make people do that, and I think that's really fucking cool. I'm not trying to be mad at someone who does do the, what is it this time? You know, like, I get it. Have your fun. You are helping.
I hate that concept.
I fucking hate that shit. I gotta deal with it because I do need your help, but like, God damn it, dude. Like, I wouldn't do this to you. And of course they'd be like, yeah, you wouldn't do it to me. You ain't got nothing I need. I'm like, well, fuck you still, but I don't like anyone to have anything on me. I'm the one who has to. I have stuff on other people.
That's my thing.
I'll be so generous with the shit I have on you. I'm so magnanimous. I'll never bring it up, barely. But I got it. I'll tell you one time, don't fuck with me, motherfucker. And make you smoke crack and then get you drug tested. Cool. This is it. This is fucking ready to slap back together. Motherfucker's perfect.
Fuck
dude.
yeah, it is.
That's gotta be a relief.
Dude, you have no idea.
Well, that was short-lived. Turns out the mid-control kit that I ordered for this FXR didn't take into account that there are a few slight differences in shovelhead FXRs. Now, I could have overcome those, but whoever put the forward control kit on this bike did something very odd that you don't see a lot. They actually did it correctly, and the fact that they did it correctly and they used the correct parts means that I can't half-ass cobble it together and make it work, even though I don't have all the parts we need. So, Wet Spot is gonna have to wait another day before Shaylisi rides it. This thing goes down fast.
Yeah, fucking shit.
You'd think since I've done this once before and really not that long ago that the second time will go a lot faster. I'm thinking that too. I don't know if that'll be true or not, but I'm gonna think it until I'm proven wrong. Remember, a screwdriver is not a punch, so don't use it like one. Unless you're me. I have special permission.
I'm fine. I don't even have shoes on.
I know what I'm doing.
If you've ever wondered how tall an XR 650R is, the answer is tall. Literally, the freaking handlebar guard comes almost up to your head.
Shut up.
Aziz, light! Dude, this is so close to fitting out like this. Why wouldn't they make this so you could pull it out like that? That's so silly. So much more work. Just a little bit of metal shaving. I just don't feel confident enough shaving this to be able to get it out. Like, I'm worried that it will compromise the integrity of the inner primary. Well, wish in one hand, shit in the other. Dude, I bled for this safety wire and I'm just cutting it loose. Oh well, such is the way of things. All right, that ought to do it. I said, Aziz, light! I said, that should be it. There we go. And here we are with this thing that there just looks like there's nothing wrong with it whatsoever. I guess something is. And we have the culprit. This is what Joe the Mountain Jedi told me to look for. He said, even though this thing looks fine, these can slide around on it. They can be, the bond can be broken. They're no longer glued and they're just stuck on there. So when it starts spinning, you got nothing. And that's exactly what's happening. These things are like moving around. There we go. What he said is this can happen sometimes, especially with the older ones, is whatever glue was holding this sucker in there has worn down, degraded over time, and even though it looks fine and this hasn't flung off of here, it doesn't matter since these magnets aren't actually bonded in place, that it won't take a charge. So theoretically, there was actually nothing wrong with this and everything wrong with this, but we're still just gonna replace the whole thing with American-made cycle electric parts. So with these new ones, there are magnets inside this, but Joe was just telling me they're protected by this stainless steel cover, so exactly what happened on the other one doesn't happen on this one. And this is a 32 amp charging system instead of the old, whoa, Joe, instead of the old school one.
Magnets work.
But how? Nobody knows.
Fire, water, air, and earth. Fucking magnets. How do they work?
Did we bring over the safety wire stuff?
Safety wire.
Oh fuck. You know the safety wire with the pliers.
What safety wires with pliers? You guys need to be more descriptive.
Gosh, she did not. I know.
Why is it my fault?
Wow.
Why is it my
Wow.
fault?
Fuck everything, I guess.
Why is it
It's not getting
my-
done. Back in action on the BBC. I should have known this thing was too big to take in one go. I mean, I say too big, but really what it was is I was tired and we didn't have safety wire. I gave up. At least for the night, not forever. This will be my very second time doing safety wire. I don't know how well I did it the first time. I mean, it held for a ride around the block long enough for me to figure out this thing wasn't charging, but after that, I don't know. So I think I'm good at safety wire, but hard to tell, really. Technically, you don't need safety wire pliers to do this, and that's a good thing because I think I just broke my safety wire pliers from Buddy Bezos here. This is definitely the poor boy way of compressing your springs to put a clutch on, but that's the way Joe taught me, and it seems to work pretty well. Now another really weird spec on shovel heads, maybe some other bikes are like this too, is this clutch diaphragm. This plate gets set 1 1/32 of an inch from here. That's weird, but that's how they do it. Even though it's weird, it's not hard to do.
Who are you to say what's hard to do?
I don't know.
Are you the person who puts rating of difficulty in all the books?
The beard scale that Revzilla does.
Is that what it is?
2, 3, 4. So I try to do all these evenly, so it's even all the way across. 2, 3, 4. Yeah, Revzilla used to do this thing called the beard scale, and that was how difficult something was. It would be like, how long is the beard? People loved that shit.
I can tell you length doesn't determine how good or bad a beard is.
I thought you were gonna say length doesn't determine how good a man is at something. And I'll be like, you're right, girth does.
Well, I'm just saying.
And then we tighten this guy over here to 155 foot-pounds, which is as high as my torque wrench goes.
Shit, dude.
It's tight.
No, that shit's tight, dog.
Yeah, I mean, this literally is the entire engine's power comes out of this shaft. Aziz, light!
Give me 5 minutes. Oh wait, just kidding. It doesn't take that long to heat up my thing now.
I know, Shay got the best dab rig ever.
Dude.
Shay has entered the 21st century. She no longer looks like she's smoking crack anymore.
I got rid of the torch, dude. No more torch.
Break free from your chains. Throw down the torch. Upgrade to Puffco. Well, let's see how long it
It's like
lasts.
not sponsored, yeah, dude.
Damn, that's all it is. No torch sounds. It's just ready to
now.
go. It's ready. That's crazy. If that's all it took to get most girls ready. Sorry. Always keep an extra one of these chain shoes that you use for primaries around. They work really great as a stopper, so you can actually get this 155 foot-pounds on there. Holy shit, dude. God damn.
No. You and me both, brother.
Oh, holy crap. 155 foot-pounds is no joke.
Text that guy and be like, hey, you can have this idea.
Yeah, here you go. This one's for free, dude. Aziz, light. All right, baby, a moment of truth. Any job worth doing is worth doing twice, right? Not because I have to, right? Just because I want the practice. Let's hope 2 times was enough and we don't have to go for 3rd time's a charm. We got lights, we got camera. Do we have action, baby, action? But do it charge? I don't know, haven't checked it yet. We about to find out. All right, we got 12.3 with the motorcycle off. All right, we're charging. Volts, baby.
Oh yeah.
I never wanted this. I never wanted to unleash my legions. Together we banished the ignorance of old night. But you betrayed me. You betrayed us all. Mankind has only one chance to prosper. If you will not seize it, then I will.
Bunnies.
So what does $1,000 get you in the land of ADV bikes? Well, depending on which one you're talking about, not much. $1,000 wouldn't even cover soft luggage, let alone hard luggage for any brand name motorcycle that's gonna stick ADV in its name. But $1,000 on Facebook Marketplace will get you a Honda NX250. It gets you a liquid-cooled, double overhead camshaft, 250cc engine that revs to 10,000 RPM, 26 horsepower, which for 1988 was pretty damn good. I believe that the modern day CBR 250 isn't even making 20 26 horsepower. Back in the 80s, 26 horsepower might not sound like a lot in the days of pushing 200 horsepower V4 multi-stratas, but it's enough to get the job done. At least that's what I tell all the girls. But just as important when you're talking about 26 horsepower is the weight. Now, I'm pushing 300 pounds of twisted steel and sex appeal myself, which means I got about 40 pounds on this bike. This thing weighs about 250 pounds. As far as street legal adventure bikes go, that ain't much. When people are excited to get in the 400 pound range, we're looking at a 250 pound bike back there. Like I said, I outweigh the dang thing. A bike ahead of its time. A bike that America wasn't ready for. I believe Honda kept on making this motorcycle quite successfully everywhere else except America. And I also believe they actually brought back the NX name to America for small adventure bikes that are affordable, though I don't think that a brand new NX is going to come in anywhere close to the $1,000 that I paid for this motorcycle right here. But for now, we got to get back to Sunnyvale. So let's hop on this thing and take the long way home. And that's not just because its top speed really is safely 75 miles an hour. I just want to take the long way because it's beautiful and I've got an adventure bike. Why wouldn't you take the long way? That's what it's all about, ain't it, baby? And what is more of an adventure than putting a couple hundred miles on a motorcycle that I just bought and haven't even checked the oil on? It's a Honda. I got faith. 250cc bike, 44,000 miles, pushing 40 years old, 250 pounds. What could be better in the mountains?
Well, going uphill, we can do at least 55. With my big ass on this bike, I'll take it. It's just kind of wild to me, the adventure, pun intended, that adventure bikes have taken, at least in America. I know pretty much everywhere else in the world just laugh their ass off at it, but it's really odd because I grew up wanting one. You know, I grew up on 80s movies where, you know, all the cool kids or the bad guys were always riding like these really wicked dual sport dirt bikes. You know, maybe it wasn't an adventure bike, but this is like the Lost Boys and all the vampires riding cool bikes across the beach. Give me a break, man. Who didn't want to be a part of that? You don't have to beat me, Michael. You just have to keep up. You cannot have seen the Lost Boys as a kid and not wanted a dual sport to rip across the beach. So when I got my first motorcycle, which happened to me, I think most people's very first motorcycles are something that happened to them. It's not something they pick, but my first motorcycle was a 1989 GSXR 750. Definitely not the motorcycle that an 18-year-old shade tree surgeon should have been ripping around on, and I promptly wrecked it. But the first bike that I chose, or at least I tried to choose because I ended up not being able to get one, was a Suzuki DR650. That is the bike I wanted. That's the bike I chose. It's the bike I thought that I was going to ride. I just couldn't afford one, which sounds crazy because DR650s are so cheap now. But in 1999, 2000, they were not that cheap, at least not for the amount of money that I had then, which was almost nothing. When I was looking for a motorcycle in 1999, 2000, yeah, you could probably get a DRZ 400 or 650 or a KLR for, I don't know, probably like $3,000 or $4,000 for a nice used one, maybe like $5,000 or $6,000 for a brand new one. They were really cheap back then. But my budget wasn't $5,000 or $6,000. It wasn't even $3,000 or $4,000. It was more like $500 to $700. So I didn't end up with the DR650 and the adventure bike that I wanted till much later in my life. And when I could afford it and my business was doing well, I said, I'm finally going to fulfill my adventure bike dreams. And I got myself a Ducati Multistrada. And I said, this is it. This is finally it. I finally achieved it. I finally achieved the dreams of little shade tree surgeon, and I have my adventure bike. And even though I loved my Ducati Multistrada, I think it's a stretch to call it an adventure bike. It's more just like a super sport for fat people. And since then, as I've grown, I've subscribed way more to the Everride's D-Cam philosophy when it comes to adventure bikes. And I realized that a super sport Ducati Multistrada, that was not what I actually wanted. And I should have been shooting way more towards my original dream of a Suzuki DR650. For me, the cheaper the adventure bike is, the easier it is to work on, the simpler it is, the more I want it. And for a while, I got lost in the sauce. I thought that, oh man, I want all the traction modes and all the electronics and the engine. Oh my God, if it makes under 150 horsepower, why even bother? You don't how can you even get out of your own way with under 150 horsepower? boy was I wrong. This is the bike that I always wanted and just didn't know it. And with the adventure bike category like exploding in popularity right now, everything overland from Ford Broncos to BMW GS's, Africa Twins, and trust me, I like a lot of those vehicles, but man, it just seems like they're everywhere. I think there's a lot of kids, well, I guess they're grown-ups now, but they were kids when I was a kid too. People around my same age bracket who finally have enough money to fulfill those dreams they were having in the 80s and 90s. And they also think that they should go out and buy a $50,000 adventure bike or a $100,000 Bronco and then dump another 20, 30 grand on top of it. I'm telling you right now, look for a 250 to 500 cc old 80s Honda, because they were still making adventure bikes in that size through the 80s and 90s, and you will probably be way closer to the dreams you had as a kid than you will be with $1,000 a month payment on a brand new BMW. I know that I am, because I've got a Honda NX250 now, and the Ducati Multistrada is long gone. It is handling these hills just fine, although I am detecting just the smallest amount of clutch slippage, which is not super surprising. It's a 40-year-old bike with 44,000 miles on that I just paid less money for than my Ducati Multistrada's first Desmo service cost. If I gotta put a clutch pack in it, I'm not gonna call it that much of a loss. In fact, I could probably put a clutch pack in it, an oil change, some luggage, and every other service that this motorcycle might need, and still come in under what my first Desmo service cost with the entire purchase price of this motorcycle. And nothing against Ducati, I loved my Multi, but the numbers don't lie. We're just doing math here. I'm not trying to talk shit. That is what it is. As far as everything else on the bike, well, the suspension's softer than cocaine cock at a 5 a.m. after party, and the seat's harder than a teenager with his very first copy of Hustler. Handling is light and flickable, but it's a 250-pound bike. What'd you expect? Though I probably won't be pushing it too hard in the twisties, because the suspension's soft enough to bottom out with me on it, and all it takes is one big bump in the middle of negotiating a sharp turn, and you wish you hadn't. As far as high-speed adventure accessories, I think it's got a special spring on the kickstand that makes the kickstand automatically go up so you don't forget about it. I mean, it's got a kill switch, turn signals that don't work. I'm not sure here. Okay, not a whole lot of accessories, we'll say that. Rider modes? I guess rider modes are just dependent on whatever mood you're in. You see, that's a good thing. We'll call that infinitely adjustable rider modes. You know, with the rheostat of the throttle and 6-speed transmission, you have infinitely adjustable rider modes. That beats the pants off a brand new bike, doesn't it? Okay, we've pulled over and I've tried to adjust the clutch a little bit, because climbing through these mountains, I'm eventually gonna smoke this thing. Now, when you're talking about a bike this old that's been around the block this many times, I don't know how much adjustment we actually got left in that thing. But for today, I'm not going to worry so much about being able to give it the full amount of Bush's baked beans through all the twisties and up the hills, as much as I am just getting it back to Sunnyvale. Well, that already feels better. Considering I got this motorcycle from a kindred spirit, and the person it belonged to was his wife, who is a nice little old lady who probably didn't twist this throttle wide open very often, I can see why she wouldn't have noticed that her clutch was misadjusted. I doubt she was wringing its neck, or I don't know, maybe she was a little old lady from Pasadena and I had her pegged all wrong. Her other daily ride was a V45 Magna, so I know she knows what fast is. Back in Vernonia, home of the big ass burgers. And you can tell it's Sunday. The bikes are out. I love it. Seems like we were in Vernonia not that long ago on an FXR with clutch trouble. Let's hope the situation doesn't repeat itself, but just in case, we're gonna go ahead and stop by the old witch's farm again. Awesome. Am I still detecting a slight bit of slippage there? Maybe. Might just be in my head. I'm kind of gun shy about it now. Once you think it's there, sometimes you start seeing shadows in the dark. Usually, like high gear, twisting it wide open, going uphill is when it would show itself, and it's not. So I think we're good. Yep, if I can climb this hill and go all the way up to 9,000 RPM without slipping, I'd say that it just needed a little adjustment. That makes me feel a lot better. So yeah, I was worried I was gonna get to the same price as the service on a Multistrada with the price of this motorcycle and what I might have to do to it. And now I know I'm not gonna even get close. Hell, man, even the tires only got a couple thousand miles on them. Baby, that ain't bad. Not for $1,000, that's for sure. Is there a more tempting place to ride an off-road machine than a golf course? Like, look, I'm not gonna go mess up your pretty little golf course. I'm just saying, you have to admit, even if you like golfing, that there is nothing more tempting in the world when you're on a dirt bike than a pristine golf course. If I ever do give in to that temptation, I definitely won't be filming it. Trust me, I'm not trying to mess up anybody's golf course here. I understand that they utilize that area and they have fun with it. I'm not trying to be a dick here, but it is really tempting. I don't know if it gets more beautiful than Oregon in springtime. This is where it's at. Although I am shivering a little bit here. Freaking Oregon in springtime, almost summer, is about as cold as Florida ever gets right now.
You will beg my kind to save you, but I am already saved. For the machine is immortal.
And just like that, we're back in the wang, baby. From hoodies and shivering on a motorcycle to 96 degrees, sunny and sweating. I'm still on the fence as to which one I like better, though right now, sweating under the Florida sun, I sure am missing those 50-degree mountain mornings. Definitely learning a harsh lesson that even though it's summertime in the P&W, you still need a hoodie, sometimes even more than that. I thought Odin was crazy when they said they printed more hoodies this time of year, because I was just going, well, who needs a hoodie? Here in Florida, hoodie season was over 2 months ago, but they printed more, and I realized that up north, you guys are pulling out your bikes, definitely still need them. They gave us a code just for Shade Tree Army to get 20% off. That's Wizard, capital W, Wizard 20 on the Odin website. That'll get you 20% off of the Kendine Wizard gloves and Wizard hoodie. That link will be down below. Huge thanks to Odin for giving us that code. I really appreciate it, and next time I go back up to the P&W, I'm bringing that hoodie with me. Wizard. Yeah, it's not lost on me how wild it is that down here in the Wang, this is literally the only piece of winter gear you need. You don't even need a jacket, maybe a rain jacket during the summer, but wintertime, you can get away with one of these Odin hoodies. So yes, it's pretty wild that up north in the P&W, this is summer gear. Appreciate you guys sticking around once again for another video that was all over the place. If you're in the P&W, we've got in stores now, She's My Cherry Pie, Eastbound and Down, One Up hitting the shelves soon. Make sure to ask your local bud tender in Oregon to order sessions on LeafLink. Power Pig's gonna start making deliveries personally here pretty soon, so I might just be showing up at your local dispo dropping it off myself, because when it comes to doing work, if I can involve a motorcycle, well, it doesn't really feel a whole lot like work, does it? And as far as the NX250 goes, well, the original plans with that bike was saw it on Facebook Marketplace and go, you know what, that's a $1,000 bike, and I sure would like to ride the Trans-American Trail all the way back to Florida from the P&W. That was gonna be my plan with it, to show that you could ride a $1,000 bike, or at least attempt to ride a $1,000 bike, the Trans-American Trail, and I don't know, that kind of fell through, not because I didn't want to do it, but because Shay Lisi ended up riding the NX250 and she fell in love with it. Now at 4'11", there are very, very few adventure bikes that Shay Lisi can ride. In fact, her own personal adventure bike here is a Honda Trail 125, which ain't doing 75 on the highway. So instead of me beating the thing to death on the Trans-American Trail, Shay Lisi decided to keep the NX250 as her adventure bike out in the PNW. Now, I didn't talk about them much in the video, but I did spy in the garage 2 big red pigs that have me and Jason's name all over them. So I think we'll be doing some very unlikely adventure bike touring with some XR 650Rs and that NX250 come this summer in the PNW. Looking forward to doing that. Looking forward to hanging out with you guys, both down here in the Wang and up there with our fam in the PNW. Thanks again for sticking around. Make sure you subscribe, leave the video a like, and if you're part of the Premiere crew, we're gonna break the fourth wall. I'm gonna say, hey, thank you. I appreciate you guys. Until next time, keep it weird.
Crashing through the sky comes a fearful cry. Shade tree, army. Shade tree, army. Armies of the night, evil taking flight. Shade tree, army. Shade tree, army. Nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. Panic spreading far and wide. Can the world oppose the deadliest of foes? Shade tree, army. Shade tree, army. Who will risk it all to end the evil call of Shade Tree, army. Shade Tree, army. They never give up, they never say die, walking tall with banners high. Shade Tree Army, a ruthless gang of scum, villains, freaks, and bikers determined to rule the world.